In part 2 we'll be looking at how to decorate this ancient looking masquerade mask. To decorate your mask you'll need your craft knife, pens and papers, googly eyes, some thin EVA foam, I got this stuff at the pound shop, some black spray paint, some brown and gold acrylic paints, some paint brushes, and I used some kitchen roll as well, loads and loads of feathers, and good old super glue. Right, I'm just going to make some templates for my thin EVA foam. I'm just using normal paper folded in half, drawing a design, cutting it out, and then when I open it up I should get a nice symmetric design. For this I realised it was just a little bit too high, so I folded it back over and then just trimmed it down a wee bit so it's perfect. I then carried on. For the side sections, the cheekbones, I just drew the eye socket in the bottom of the cheekbone just so I knew what I was drawing on the flat wouldn't go out with those areas. So I'm just freehand drawing rough shapes because it is quite a worn design. I'm not that precious on things looking perfect. Again, I'm just doing these tops kind of speared sections. What I didn't show in the video is I'm doing this speared section and then each speared section will have a thinner version on top, but you'll see that later on. Now I'm just going to use the Sharpie and do the same things we did last time, just draw around all my templates and then cut them out. With this thin EVA foam you can just use scissors. Now with my trusty super glue I'm just going to stick down all these wee design elements onto my base mask. Now for the super glue and googly eyes. These will make the rivets when they're spray painted and they look amazing, but right now they look a little bit crazy. Now when you spray paint your mask you want to spray paint all the front and all of the back of the antlers and make sure you get all the different angles and sides of it as well. To make your wings, we're going to make 2 bridges out of foam and then the feathers are going to get slotted into these bridges and the bridge will then get stuck onto the antlers. So if you do 2 of these, bing! And then in size order lay your feathers out until you're happy with them. Right, so I had 6 feathers, so I'm just making 6 wee marks, kind of equal distance apart. Again, I'm just gauging it by eye. And then I'm using the craft knife. Watch your fingers when you're doing this. I'm just going to make quite a deep hole wherever I've put a mark. And this is so the feathers can slot in quite easily. Great, and now just put the feathers in each hole that you've made. If you find it quite difficult, you can cut the bottom of the quill at an angle to make it nice and sharp. And then use your super glue just to secure each feather in that hole. The super glue will go down into the hole. With black Sharpie, just make sure there's no blue showing because that will give the game away, and we can't spray paint the feathers on both sides. There you go. Now before we adhere the feathers, we're just going to paint the front of the mask first. I used a couple of different shades of brown, just sloshed it on, and then used some kitchen roll just to not really wipe it off, but to kind of blend it all in and just give it a really old feel. So some bits were worn away, some of the bits, I don't want this looking perfect, I want it looking quite weathered. This is my favourite bit of the whole production. Putting on the gold highlights, I just put a bit of gold acrylic on my kitchen roll rather than a paintbrush, and anywhere that's kind of high, you just dab it along. You can really kind of rub this along, and especially the textured sections, that woven texture will pick up it quite well. Now when you're happy with that and it's nice and dry, you can just use your glue gun to attach the wing sections onto the back of your antlers. And to finish it off, just attach some elastic with a glue gun and you are good to go. Ta-da!